Yo. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Dan Mabry Project. This week is with a new friend in Kyle Schnellenberger of Ouachita Antique Woods. I've been following this guy on Instagram for a while and seeing his work, and I've been driving by his shop a lot on the interstate on I-20, and so I thought I'd reach out to him and see if he was down to come on. And we really had a great time. We sat down in his showroom of sorts at his shop and sat down at a table that he made and surrounded by planks that he cut, and it's really cool. It's a good scene. I really enjoyed it. And Kyle actually was a part of one of the very first bands that I ever saw, so we got to talk about that and connect there and with some other things along the way. So I was super pumped to meet Kyle and really, just like I said, was curious the whole time. I was really interested in what he does and the intricacies of it and all the little things that nobody knows about to make things pretty. And he was really good and really kind enough to share a lot of that stuff. And yeah, we had a solid time just chatting it up and getting to learn a little bit more about him and what he does. As for me, this past weekend I went to Dallas, Texas, and got to celebrate some of my friends getting engaged, and got to see all my closest friends really, and enjoyed that. And just been running, working out, trying to get stronger and be better and reach out and meet new people. So while I was in Dallas, I got to do another podcast for next week, so be on the lookout for that. I think if you know me, you'll probably be really interested in that one. So yeah, I love this podcast. I love the next podcast that's coming out. And we're just going to keep these things rolling. So follow Kyle at Ouachita _Antique _Woods. Follow me at Dan.Mabry. That's on Instagram, both of those. And I'd really appreciate your subscription to this YouTube channel or to this channel where you're listening to it. And if you like it, please tell your friends, share it on Facebook or Instagram or wherever. And please give me your suggestions, your criticisms. I always want to hear the good, the bad, the ugly. So I'm going to quit rambling. And without further ado, Kyle Snellenberger. I'll cut in whenever and post. So, I tell you, I haven't figured out how to not make it awkward in the beginning. Just the way
you put that in there. That's how you start.
Yeah, for
I don't
sure.
know, dude. I don't know how you make it not awkward. That's how you make it not awkward.
Yeah, just hold the mic relatively close to you and just speak directly into it.
Damn, I'll rig something up for this.
Yeah.
Something to hold it for.
I've looked at mic stands and stuff, but they're just ridiculously expensive for what they are. Okay.
I don't know. I was rigging something over there. I'm looking around, get a clamp and a board, dude.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, we'll just get into it.
Fist away.
Yeah,
like Rogan says.
Like Joe Rogan says. Snellenberger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like Einstein. There's
right.
you don't hear anybody else with that name.
Yeah, for sure. So, Kyle Snellenberger of Ouachita Antique Woodworks. I found out about Kyle just basically through Instagram, and I think I'd run into his brother Cody once before, out in the wilderness of probably Monroe, West Monroe, something like along those lines.
We'll have to get to that.
And so I mean, I was absolutely blown away at your art of. I guess it is art. I should say it is art. But what you do and what you're able to do with what you find, I think is really awesome. And I know that here recently you've gained a big clientele, or it seems to be had some big name companies.
Staying busy.
Yeah. I just seen you like CenturyLink and stuff like that. You've been able to put some tables and stuff in there.
It's stuff like that. I got a big one going right now.
Pull a little bit closer to you.
I don't know if it's not. I don't think anybody corporate's going to be watching this. They can probably release. I got a big one going right now for a company called Intermountain.
Okay.
A bunch of conference tables and stuff. Probably going to eat up the rest of my year. So
Wow.
That's the one I've had in the pipe for a couple months that I don't know, big fish on the line kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. I say like a money thing, but more just you just always looking for the bigger job. Just you don't want to get smaller ones.
Yeah. Well, and like you say, I mean, if it can keep you occupied for the rest of the year, I mean, that's pretty incredible to have one account do that for you.
Right. It's like I always make the joke, like I'm always like making giant tables, and it's like catching a bigger fish. You always wonder what's your best going to be, what's the biggest ones. Like right now, I think Assembly Church over in West Monroe has a conference table. It's around 15 foot, single piece of wood, no joints in it. So it's one piece of wood, 5 feet wide and 15 feet long, walnut. And I thought forever, I was like, there's no way I'm going to make a table bigger than this. This is awesome. I think I delivered that at the end of last year or something like that. This year, I've already beat it twice. So hopefully next year I'll make a Titanic size table. I don't know.
So, I mean, I guess you have to find a tree that big, yeah?
Yeah, that's if you're going single slab, which is kind of what I like to, it's kind of my niche. I like to do, like, I don't know if you can see it in that camera, like this one's is, single pieces versus individual ones glued up, trying to use the full natural size of a tree.
Right.
Yeah, and the length usually, and the width.
Yeah.
And getting it milled and getting it dried, that's the hard part more than just, it's more comes into material selection more than it is the builder. It's what's the coolest slab you can find, what's the coolest piece of wood you can work with. That's kind of the biggest thing for me is rejecting a bunch of slabs like, okay, this one's cool as hell.
Yeah. That's cool. So I guess you mentioned rejecting slabs, so how do you go about finding slabs? I know there's multiple different ways, but
started out I was tried to keep it a secret because I didn't want anybody else knowing where I'm getting my stuff.
Yeah.
Before I had my own sawmill, now I got one right out the front, so I'm getting it myself. But was starting a buddy of mine named Andrew. Now he was in Baton Rouge. Now he's outside of New Orleans. That was where I first started getting all my slabs from. And he's since in the process of liquidating or something, so it's okay to release my sources now.
Gotcha.
But he was doing what I'm doing now. He's badass at it, milling, drying, and I was just buying everything from him, pretty much keeping him pretty busy cutting wood. Got to where I was like, look, I'm going through enough of this stuff. I need to do this in-house, Bought a sawmill, 2 sawmills. I got this one, and I got that big chainsaw right there. Started getting trees. There's a lot of trees around,
For sure.
It's not hard to find trees. They blow down, It's most of the time people pay you to come get them. I'll do it for free.
I was about to say that was definitely a question that I had coming into this.
Right.
I know that you are able to salvage trees and stuff like that, but is that something that you seek out or other people seek you out?
Both.
Yeah.
That's a definite both. If I see a tree down on the side of the road that's something that, looks like it's going to be something good, yeah, I'll knock on a door or something like that. I've got phone calls out to every tree trimming service from here to Shreveport, wherever, everybody around here, that's their job to cut trees down.
For sure.
They know if there's going to be a good one. If they're cutting down, like yesterday, some guys were cutting down a giant live oak, and had to give them a call about that. I was like, what y'all doing? It was going to be firewood or whatever they're going to do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be furniture. I know that.
Right.
I was like, let me get it. So I recently built a trailer. It's kind of like, it's a one of a kind for sure.
I was about to say, it's pretty sweet looking, honestly.
It looks like something out of Mad Max for sure. But it allows you, it was a big pain to be able to, it's a hard deal to go get a 10,000 pound tree. You got to bring equipment, you got to bring a flatbed and all this, load the equipment and something for the flatbeds too. It's a big pain. So this trailer I built, self-loading. So like you just back up to the tree, giant winch on it, sucks it up onto the trailer.
And it picks
10,
it up
15.
as well as pulls it forward.
Well, it's on a trolley, so it will move. But the big thing is the clever part of it is there's no axles in the trailer, so it's open-ended. It's just like a big U, and you can back over the tree. Nothing's in the way. There's no axles where you can back directly over it, pick it straight up, and slide supports underneath that tree and set it back down.
Okay.
Strap it and drive off.
Was that something that you came up with yourself, or was that something you just seen before?
A little kind of a both thing. There's similar ones, not one like that that's double axled and rated for 1 million pounds. You're not gonna blow it up. I've never seen one. If there's somebody out there, he's keeping it a secret.
Yeah.
It's worked pretty good. I mean, people make the joke that I should patent it. And I'm like, dude, shit on that. I don't need any competitors, you know?
Yeah.
It's perfect. Just me. I'll just need it. He can build that himself if he wants to.
For sure.
But, it works good.
I mean, that's obviously, I guess, welding and things are a part of your craft, but
I weld like the table bases here and stuff, but like that heavy duty welding, I wanted to rely. I outsourced that to a buddy of mine. I'll plug him, Danny Boyd Welding. He's a man.
Gotcha.
Here in Monroe or West Monroe. He's awesome. He did all the heavy lifting on that. That was all him. I just kind of came to him with an idea. He took it from there for what I was doing. I wanted to make sure it was not gonna break.
For sure.
Going down the highway with a big ass tree, you know, it'd be nasty. But now it just, I don't know. For a long time, I would be driving around after a storm or something, and you'd see like this, a big pecan on the ground or something. And be like, man, I could do something with that. Oh well, you know, no way to do it.
Yeah.
So now I built that thing, got the sawmill. Now I can, if I see it, come hook up to that trailer and go get it. Now it was free.
Yeah.
So it's working out good.
For sure. So something that I wonder about is like, you see that tree on the ground, like, can you tell that one's going to be unique, like, or it's all just a mystery?
Yeah, there's a lot of characteristics to it. Like if it's got what you call a crotch figure, where like it's instead of a main trunk, it's going up and something splits where like a crotch. It's you're gonna, this tree right here has a crotch where it's going out there and there. You get cool grain patterns in there.
Okay.
Stuff like that. Just the species of the tree tells you a lot on if it's gonna be good, like what it's gonna look like. I know any pecan, I know I want it if it's big enough. Red oak, not a big deal. Pine, not a big deal.
Dime a dozen.
Yeah, it's all, and like I said, it's all material selection. I mean, if I picked up every tree I saw, I'd be going through I'd have a stockpile of trash.
I was about to say, you have a ton of trees around you here.
Yeah, kind of stay selective.
I guess we should mention we are kind of in your showroom here at your office.
Call it a
shop.
showroom. Yeah, showroom.
Yeah. It's
however you want to word it.
You got a lot of samples, a lot of
That's a lot
samples.
of that's flooring I offer. Try to do it all. Ceiling stuff, mantles and beams, pretty much anything.
Big stuff, little stuff.
Yeah.
You got a nice kayak back there that you built. Yeah. I guess when did you start to pick up the craft of woodworking, or when did you start working with wood, I guess?
I get asked that question all the time, and I never have come up with the good answer for it. My dad, growing up, had a little, like, he's a carpenter by trade, like fixing up houses and stuff like that. I always work with him. So he always had some tools, like in a little shop in the backyard and stuff. And just a little kid building skateboard ramps and stuff like that. Like always I like building the ramp just as much as I like skating it. You know? So started with that probably. That's what I've thought about it. I think that's where it started, making ramps and stuff. Really like doing that. Then my dad moved, had a bigger shop. That was where I could really like, you know, the first thing that I really built that was like not just gonna be a little ramp was I used to play a lot of music, and I built my own like speaker cabinets and stuff.
Okay.
So just out of necessity, not because I'm like, I'm gonna be a furniture maker. I was like, these things are expensive as hell. I got a shop right here. We can make this, you know. Yeah. So that's how it kind of started, making it that. Had the tools my dad did, so I was very fortunate for that. That's where it started. My dad's always made some furniture and stuff, so I had somebody to kind of show me how to use stuff.
Yeah, it was kind of easy for you to pick it up and start messing with it.
Yeah, he showed me, you know, this tool does this and this tool does that, you know. He helped me a lot there. And from there, I went to college for construction management just because builder background kind of thing. Got a degree in that thinking I was going to go build houses or whatever. Never did it. The whole time I was going to school, I was working like in the shop, building furniture, kind of. That was how I was making my living. Working for my dad a little bit, but more in the shop just. And I was making stuff for 20, but whatever. Somebody wants to pay me to build something. I'm yes, you got it. Like, we're not even talking price. Okay, yes,
Yeah.
I'll do it. So I did that for a while. Graduated and still working for my dad. Didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. I knew I liked woodworking, so I started looking around at like shops, and I knew I'm too ADD to like work at a cabinet shop where you do the same thing every day. Even though it's wood, that'd kill me.
Yeah,
you know,
no
just
doubt.
cutting out puzzle pieces and putting them together. No,
Yeah.
that's not the same thing.
For sure.
So that's the only real thing around here. Well, I found out there's a company called Paul Michael here in town that's like a furniture store. So I started bugging the shit out of them. It's like emailing them all the time. And they'll attest that if any of those guys listen to this, they'll know, yeah, I sent them like 30 emails before they'd finally let me come up there. And I just wanted to get a job in a wood shop where I could make cool stuff. Finally went up, got an interview, moved to nowhere, Arkansas, Lake Village, and lived there for couple of years and was doing what I wanted, getting paid for it. Didn't have to, build my own clientele. It was like getting to do what I wanted. Somebody else was finding the clients, it was perfect. Sure. So then my then girlfriend, now wife, moved up there with me. She started working for them. I guess just had that kind of hunger for like wanting to do, always like wanting to do it for yourself kind of thing, more than just, I don't know, felt like I'd climbed the ladder there.
Right.
Like this is as high as this ladder goes.
Yeah.
And I was enjoying myself, but like 26 or something like that. I was like, man, this ain't the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I got to at least try.
Yeah. This isn't, I'm not peaking here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. And it's not a bad talk. I loved that job. It wasn't any bad blood there. It was just, I got to see what I can do, Yeah. So I moved back here, bought a house and fixed it up to live in, and just started back at my dad's shop. And within about 6 months, found a guy that was willing to, be a partner with me to go into like a place like this. He's kind of helped me get started. And that was like 3 years ago, something like that, in this building. And it's just been steady.
Did you start out as Ouachita Antique Woodworks?
I had a bunch of different names.
Okay,
I'm
I'm
sure I'll have another name next year.
I'm
bad about changing
I think your
it.
name is awesome. You got a sick brand.
I love the logo. My buddy Gabe Cardinale, that's a huge shout out. That dude's
for sure.
Awesome. He made this logo. If you need something, the dude's a man. He made the logo. But the name, it's kind of synonymous. It doesn't say much that we make furniture. It more says that we sell old wood.
Yeah.
But I don't care. Whatever.
And you're local?
Yeah, it says we're local. That's for sure. That's been something I've been toying with online. Is like, it's a cool local name, but as soon as you go online, try to sell something to somebody in Wyoming or whatever, like, what the hell is?
Yeah.
How is
Ouachita.
like what? So I might have to shorten that one day.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So how long have you been here? I guess in this spot.
It was October that we moved in this building. So this October will, I think, be 3 years, maybe 4. Hadn't been counting really. I know October is the birthday though.
Gotcha.
So October, I'm gonna say 4. That sounds better.
So at that point, you had already kind of started off on yourself.
I was doing up until we moved into this building. Yeah, that was when I got back from Arkansas. Was doing stuff out of my dad's shop, looking for a place. Like, I knew that wasn't my permanent thing, but that was just where I was gonna.
Had to start there.
Yeah, I had to make some money somewhere, and it was a local builder that wanted me to make a table for him, and he was like, "Dude, I like what you're doing." He's like, "I think you can make it, bigger."
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, let's do it then."
Yeah.
So he had this place, or he bought this place when we moved in over here and started doing the beams and the barn board and all the stuff that's not just furniture, trying to make it where it's not just me in here trying to do mainly a bunch of stuff that there's no competitor for. There's not another company from here to Baton Rouge, here to Dallas, that's selling this kind of stuff. So like I was saying earlier about cabinet shops, didn't want to come in here and just be another something we already have.
Right.
Trying to do something that nobody else does around here, building unique furniture, not just whatever pallets and I'm not trash talking again, just trying to do something nobody else is doing. You know?
For sure. Would you say that like Louisiana has more unique wood than other places? I don't know. I just know I mean cypress and stuff
no,
is
you're
like
absolutely right, dude.
Always fascinating
like that. I don't know if you can see the slab you're sitting behind. That's kind of Louisiana staple right there.
Yeah,
Pecky
for sure.
cypress. They don't have that anywhere else.
Yeah.
I mean, not just Louisiana, but just the southern coast up to maybe South Carolina, especially the sinker stuff. And I get a lot of that, like the old logs that come out of the bayous and rivers that were.
I see you pulling logs out of swamps and stuff.
Yeah, I need to take that stuff down. I think I'm getting in trouble for that. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, those were all. I got a lot of permission to do that, so nobody worry about that.
Yeah.
But that's kind of, as if you're talking about exclusive to Louisiana, that is one that shines for us. That we've got the cool thing about that. We've got some treasures hiding out in the water.
Yeah.
Not many other states have that.
Yeah.
All these cool old cypress and pecan. Again, pecan's probably one of my favorite ones, and it's exclusive to our area, not just Louisiana, but the South. You know, if you're being a wood nerd, like everybody up north freaks out about like maple and walnut. Well, we have a little bit of that. We got some walnut and stuff. They don't get as big as they do up there. That's the big money bringers though up there, but they don't have the big cool sinker cypress. They don't have the big cool pecan. So it's just like anything else. We'll ship this up there and they'll ship the walnut. I've got a bunch of walnut slabs I had shipped in and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, each region has its cool stuff. I'm not disappointed at all with what I've got around
for sure.
here.
Well, and that's, you said it. I mean, that is where my mind went. Like, you take that where you can't get it anywhere else and
then ship it to the guy that can't get it.
Yeah, that's exactly where my mind goes. So I'm pretty sure that we can see this to some degree. Like, you have like a bunch of essentially like holes and I mean, what are these? Can you?
It's actually it's kind of like a disease, really, that only cypress trees get. It's called pecky. Quick term for it's called pecky. It's basically somewhere in that tree, however long ago, had a hole in it, like a limb broke off, something. There was somewhere for water to get in. With cypress being naturally rot resistant, most of the wood stays stable. So you see it'll skip every like 1,000th wood cell and one of them will decay. So you get these cool holes. Okay. Some of them get way worse than others. Like I've got some over there that are super pecky.
Yeah, for sure. I can see one over this direction.
Yeah, like tons of holes. And then there's other ones that will just have a couple little holes. And it's just how bad it had it. But
so you take that and you make it into a table like a slab.
Yeah.
You fill in those holes with something?
Clients, if they want it filled. I've got that identical slab. I had a few of those bought from my buddy Andrew. Those have a cool story too, where they came from. But I got the first one I got from them. I was like, dude, this thing's cool as hell. And it sat in here for a couple months, and I was like, I got to keep that. So I turned it into a coffee table, and it's on my porch right now. And I didn't fill it. I like leaving it, naturally open.
Yeah.
But
you just
if you're making a
finish
dining
it to some
table,
degree, I guess.
Yeah, I'll clean all the holes out and all that. But if I'm making a dining table, I got a conference table coming up that I got to make out of that stuff. And it's going to get filled, or it's getting glass over it or something. You know, it's not practical. It just looks cool. Yeah. If for a coffee table, you're going to put your boots on or something, like it's fine for that.
Right.
But no, if it's going to be like this, you're eating on it or whatever like that.
Like that's what I see. Like all this.
All these big cracks are filled with like an epoxy. This is tinted black, but on those, it looks cool to keep it clear, just so you can see down in all the holes and crevices and stuff.
Yeah. So like this, like. You may be able to see like all of this is filled in. So like all this was just a big crack. And it was
all that was a giant void, and it's all the way through to the bottom, like 3-inch wide, 3-inch thick crack. It took like, I don't know, almost
so
2.
It was just like hanging on by a thread over here? kind of deal, or was it?
Yeah, I mean it's still pretty stable, but yeah, I mean you could have broke it.
Yeah.
Before I filled it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean obviously it's a lot more.
No, it's good now.
Yeah.
It's not gonna do nothing now, but you got to feel that, you know. And it looks better. And this kind of stuff, you get a lot of these naturally black lines called spalting. So I like to tint it black in certain types of wood just because it matches the wood.
Right.
You know, looks better. It's not all. I mean, you see a lot of. It's kind of a fad now to like. I don't know if you ever seen it where they'll do like glitter green and all this, making the river stuff. Yeah. And I'm not big on that.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like
I try not to. I don't want my table to glow
like
in the dark or whatever. You know.
Yeah.
Melted bowling balls in there and whatever. But
yeah, that's a good example for sure. So tell me about this kayak, because it is like absolutely gorgeous, and I just really want to know the story behind it.
When I lived in Arkansas, we lived on a lake called Lake Chico.
Okay.
And I already had a couple kayaks, and I'd already built 2 boats, 2 pirogues before that, so I was already kind of like had the watercraft bug or whatever, making wooden boats. I guess still got one of them at my house, but you know, like I said, you want to build a bigger table. I was like, I want to make the pirogue's nothing. I want to make a kayak. So I did that. I lived on that lake, and I was like, I gotta make a big kayak for that lake. So I started that thing when I was living in Arkansas, just building it in my garage, and about a month after I'd started it was when I got the bite where I was like, I got to move back, you know? So I got it finished, like the shape, but it wasn't fiberglass. It wasn't none of that. So I moved it back here and started my house project. So it sat for a minute, finished, but not finished, you know, sat for a minute. Finally, I got back on it. So it took like 200 hours labor spread over like a year and a half, you know, because I moved and fixed up a house and started a business in that process, but then finally brought it in here and got it finished. I've taken it. I mean, that was at least 3 years ago.
Okay.
So that lets me know this is, we've been here 4 years, because that was 3 years ago when I finished it for sure. So finished that thing, took it out, and I've been to the Buffalo River, and it killed me not taking it. You know, it's like I'm going on this badass kayak trip, but it had been busted to show. Like, it was white water in rapids and busted in rocks and stuff.
For sure.
The whole time we were doing it, I was like, God, I'm glad I didn't bring the kayak. But it killed me to leave it. Yeah, it killed me to leave it. I wanted to brag on it, but it wouldn't have been nothing left of it. But it's cool, and it's really light. It's like it's under 30 pounds. You can throw it up and carry it, throw it in a truck or whatever.
That's awesome.
Used to fish in it a lot. Oh, it's funny going with my buddies that they have like regular, plastic kayaks or whatever, and that thing like not really even paddling. It's like a pine needle just gliding.
That's awesome.
But it's quick. It's real quick.
So it's not just a showpiece by any means.
Hell no. No, I'm not big on just letting something sit, man. I'll take it out. It has been getting neglected lately. I did just buy a new boat, like a little one-man skiff that I go fishing in a lot.
I gotcha.
Kind of, it's taking the first seat, or, the front seat
to
this thing. It's got a motor on it, so.
A little more convenient.
Yeah. If I ever want to go,
work.
Yeah, exactly. I want to get to that spot fast. If I ever feel like I need a nice relaxing something, I'll take this thing out again.
Yeah.
And then I got the bug again. I think last spring, I built that paddle board, and I really haven't taken it out at all. I've taken it a few times, but it was more or less. It was just I wanted to do it. It was one of those things. I got the itch again. I was like, I need to make something cool again, so I made that thing. And it's cool as hell. I made it to go to the beach in, but I hadn't even taken it to the beach.
Is it heavy? It looks heavy.
No, it's hollow. Okay. It's like 15 pounds. It's really light. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Floats its ass off.
I bet so.
Yeah.
Especially
I felt like I didn't know what I was gonna do when I built it. I'm like, it's like maiden voyage. I was like, it's fine. I like loaded an ice chest with beer and stuff. I was like, I'm gonna go party on this thing. Put it in. I was like, oh shit. It's like 200 something pounds on this thing. I was like, didn't flip it somehow, but learned pretty quick. I was like, all right, maybe ice chest isn't coming out with me on this thing. But it's fun. It's real fun.
Yeah.
Definitely wouldn't do it in the wintertime. You're going to get wet.
For sure. So you mentioned music earlier, and I know your brother plays music, and
Yeah.
I guess can you tell me a little bit about what you did there?
Oh, that was all I used to do, man. Through high school, that was it. Played in a bunch of different bands and touring and stuff like that. And straight out of high school, basically lived in a van for, I don't know, close to a year maybe. And again, I guess that shows how quick I get bored with stuff. Like even going on tour, like good tours, like with notable bands, still was like, I want to do something else. And like that's when I quit and started college. But yeah, I played from, I don't know, junior high up to probably the last band I played in was like 2-3 years ago, maybe.
What instrument?
Still
did you
play music. Bass guitar and guitar are the two that I've mostly stay in. Did a little singing in one band. I was a singer in that band. Not just singer, play guitar and sing, but I don't consider myself a singer. It was just we couldn't find anybody else to do it. You know.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What kind of music did you play?
Oh man, when I was growing up, it couldn't get heavy enough. It was.
Yeah.
I liked to bang my head when I was a kid.
For sure.
I still dig that stuff, but that's not what I don't really play it anymore.
I like to tell the story that I had the two very first concert experiences I ever recall. The first one was George Strait at the CenturyTel Center.
Hell yes.
And the second one was 12 Gauge Valentine at the Monroe JC's.
All right, you got me.
So, yeah.
You did your homework. I wasn't going to say it. Yeah.
But...
Was I in the band then? I was a replacement.
You were in the band. Okay.
Okay.
I didn't recall that. I just knew that you were probably a part of that scene to some degree.
Well, in that band, yeah. I wasn't an original member of that band, so if it was at JC's, I was probably in the band by then. I can't remember. Probably. I know I played shows with them there, so.
I mean, I was in middle school when that
so.
happened.
Yeah.
So, like, I bought a T-shirt, and it said, don't knock it till you rock it.
Yeah,
and I had no idea what that actually meant.
I don't either.
Like, wore it to school one time, and one of my teachers gave me dirty looks, and that's a good time.
Yeah, I played guitar in that band. That was the one band that I was in, and I'm not trying to take credit. Those guys had gotten notoriety before I joined. You know, they had just signed and recorded an album, and their I guess studio release tour. They wanted a second guitarist to go and do it with them. And that's when I joined that band on their first did what's called the Youngbloods tour, like all the new signees of a record label called Solid State.
Yeah, for sure. So like whenever I think about that era, that genre of music, I think about like Maylene and the Sons of Disaster.
Oh, dude, that's what that was. We toured with them 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
dude.
for
Those
sure.
were
Like
good
that's
friends,
how I
man.
found out about them. And then As Cities Burn, of course, is.
They just came out with a new album this week.
Yeah,
you see that?
Yeah,
they're still doing it. I haven't either,
but
they're still doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I went and saw them in Shreveport like 6 months ago.
Really?
First time ever.
I think one of my buddies went to that and was like thinking it was gonna be. Was it packed?
It wasn't.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
I hope they're not watching this. I feel bad about that.
I mean, I read Aaron's books, both of his books.
Shit.
Like
I think I snuck the first chapter that he mailed out or something. I didn't
buy.
Yeah. I'm an
asshole. The whole story of it is really interesting, and I basically lived and breathed on them in high school.
Yeah.
And so.
Oh my God, dude, I was obsessed with them.
Yeah. And
I wanted to be Cody.
I wasn't sheltered as a high school kid, but I wasn't really allowed to go to shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I never did, and I kind of missed my opportunity to see them in their prime.
Oh, dude,
and
that
so
was the best.
Whenever I saw the opportunity, I had to go do it.
If we're on that subject, funny one. I wasn't old enough to drive yet. The drummer in our band was my first band. I think we started when I was 14, called Neighborhood Superheroes.
Okay.
It was like a little Blink-182 pop punk band.
All right.
And we had somehow one of the guy that played guitar and sang for us somehow had heard about As Cities Burn down in Baton Rouge, and they were just a local band then, you know. And he invited him up. You want to play a house show at my dad's house or his grandpa's house or something. It was like our first show, and their first show to play outside of the lower Louisiana.
Yeah.
Came up here. Somehow already had a van, got stuck in the yard. I remember that. But played a show with them in a living room. Like, that had to have been like 02, 01, 02.
Yeah.
As they're, and now, like I said, they're still doing it. They blew up, it was cool to see that. You see one of their first shows like that. Those guys were legends, though, around here,
For sure. I mean,
it was like seeing Led Zeppelin or something. If you were talking about As Cities Burns coming this weekend, they were legends.
Well, that was the thing. I posted a little clip of them on my Instagram and was like, after being a fan for 10 years, like I finally got to see these guys. And
oh, that was your first time to see them?
Yeah, it was the first
time.
Dude, yeah,
shit.
Like that's what I was saying. Like I went by myself. Like I had no friends.
Wow.
And I ended up seeing a couple people there from high school. Like
you somehow got the shit into that stick seeing 12 gauge at a JC's, but you know.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like I got exposed to that, and I was like, holy crap! Like.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in a very conservative Christian home, and so like.
Well, they have a Christian band.
Yeah, but like, I mean, to walk in and see people throwing fists, like dancing, and like people come out of the pit bloody, and like, that was like, whoa! Like, I was like 10, I mean, I wasn't. I was maybe 12 or 13.
Oh no, I was doing that. It started. I think like that scene started around. It was in Cottonport. There was a little coffee shop called Cottonport over in Antique Alley. And, dude, every Friday, it was the same lineup. Every Friday and Saturday, the same damn 3 local bands played. It started in the parking lot. They wouldn't even let us play inside. We just would play on the street. And you drive by there, and it looked like, I don't know, it was like 100 14-year-olds out there. No telling what. It was ridiculous. But that was, I mean, every weekend, that was our life. Go up Cottonport and play the same 4 songs, and it was ridiculous, but it was awesome. You know?
So I mean, I guess can you talk a little bit more about like tour life and touring with those bands, that kind of stuff? Any wild stories that stick out?
Being broke, dude. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Being broke, eating Burger King chicken fries and sleeping in a van, sleeping on somebody's floor.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just happy to do it. I was like 17 or 18, so I was just happy to, be in a different town every night. And that's what sucks, because we did play like damn near a show in every state. So you'd think I'd have all these stories of seeing everything, but you're just there. Like you pull up at midnight and play a show and leave. You don't see anything really, except like looking through the window you're driving. Probably the coolest thing we ever did when I was in the band was we're in, I think it's called Roseville. I think it's Roseville, California. It's northern part of California. It's really close to the Redwood National Forest.
Okay.
So we had like a day or 2 off after the show, and I remember like we somehow found out it's like there's a camping spot. We can take the van to the Redwoods, camp there tonight, and we're off for tomorrow, and just meet wherever the next day. Like, yeah, let's go hang out there. We'll camp there tonight. It was like a 4-hour drive or something. So we got there at like 2 a.m. or something, and you could hear, I know we were on the coast. You could hear like, it was like, all right, cool. So we get there and we're like, got s'mores and shit like that. So we're like walking around the edge of these. You can hear the ocean, but you can't see nothing. Walking around on the edge, picking up sticks to make a fire and stuff. Next morning, woke up and it's like, you could hear seals barking. And it's like, look down, it's like a jagged cliff. Like, I was walking, took a shit right here last night on the edge of a cliff,
Yeah.
And then turn around, and it's the Redwoods. It's like, this is the most magical place. And I was hanging out here last night, had no idea.
For sure.
So that whole day, I still talk about that like it was one of the coolest things I've ever done, just walking around in the Redwoods. Like, if anybody's never done that, that was by far the coolest thing. Not just because I'm a tree guy or whatever, but, dude, that was awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely on my list.
So cool. Highly recommend that one. I don't know. I did another, I guess, feat or whatever was swimming in, what is it, like a Great Lake, the Atlantic Ocean, the Gulf, and the Pacific Ocean all within like 10, 14 days, something like that. It's just a shitload of driving, really, but it was cool to say it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You hit all the coasts.
Yeah, hit all of them quick.
Yeah. So I guess how long did you tour with the band?
With them, it's hard to remember. Probably like in the neighborhood of a year, something like that.
You just kind of get burned out on it.
Something like that. I'm trying to remember the exact days. Like a year or so. It's not a terribly long.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we were doing good, talking about going and doing like a overseas tour or recording another album and stuff like that. And I don't know why I got burnt out. And me and
I mean, I imagine being broke doesn't help.
Me and a couple of other fellas in the band were kind of feeling the same thing. I think we had like a falling out. You know, like 3 of us quit at the same time and all that. It was bad, but they kept going and they did good. Like the tour, when we quit, the next tour was with like I can't remember. I think Maylene and some big bands. I'm trying to remember. They still did good after that for a little while, and then they called it quits too. But
it's like, I mean, I don't know. I haven't kept up with that genre anymore, but I feel like after Under Oath kind of just like had their time, it was just like
nail on the call. They're still kicking it too, though.
Yeah, I saw they sparked back up here recently.
They're still doing it. All those guys are still doing it. I swear, the only one that's still doing it, that like from that genre that I still like, is He Is Legend.
Okay.
I don't know if you ever listened to them.
I'm not familiar with them.
What's funny is their first album, when they should have been big, I didn't like that one, but now they've gotten like, they're the only band from that I still listen to. It still puts out stuff that I like. Yeah. It's kind of just came full circle for whatever reason. Yeah. They're still a badass band.
I mean, I know I fell in love with As Cities Burn just because like they had that whole screamo section and then they toned it down a little bit. And I mean, honestly, I'm a fan of that stuff more than Son, I Loved You at Your Worst.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, just like, I mean, I get the whole like raw and emotion part of it, and I can definitely get behind it. Yeah. But I just love that other stuff. I just felt like it was.
I wasn't talking down on it, but that was just when you talk to most people, that's the one that was the album that really everybody.
Well, and that was the thing. Like I went to that show and they brought their screamer back. I forget what his name is. TJ. Yeah. And they played a lot of the screaming songs, and I just wasn't expecting that. So I was like, I mean, I was excited just to be there and see the band, but I was looking forward to some more chill stuff, I guess. But
they're good dudes, man. I'm glad they're still doing it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely glad they picked it back up. I actually bought tickets to one of their shows and had to work and couldn't make it, so I've continued to help them out, even if I hadn't been to a show.
I think they played somewhere around here real recently, like Jackson or something. They're on a tour right now. Yeah. And it's whether it was recently or it's gonna be recently. I saw that they're coming. I was like, I did that thing.
I think
I
saw
should
that
look
too.
into
it was
that.
like in the middle of the week or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those middle of the week shows.
Yeah.
Those middle of the week shows are kind of hard to get to.
I got school. Yeah.
For sure. Cool. I guess we talked about like you making tables and you expand upon that. So you do like residential stuff as well as commercial stuff. I mean, I saw you talked about you had some flooring and beams and stuff like that.
Really, I mean, I don't narrow it down to anything, man. I'll do something for anybody who wants something. Yeah. If it was like a percentage, it's higher on the residential, doing like this, like dining tables, do a lot of kitchen islands. Most common is probably dining tables. They do a lot, but that is the most common piece of furniture in a house. So if somebody was going to have a budget for one piece of furniture, it's probably going to be their dining table, you know? So that's what I do the most of. Second thing's probably conference tables. Do a good bit of those. Bars, restaurant tables, stuff like that. Like, there's a lot of different restaurants and bars around here that did the tables for Flying Tiger, did all the bars in there. Parish Restaurant did all the all the tables in there. Another 2 restaurants opening up soon that I'm doing some stuff with. I'm trying to think of some other local ones. Try to get my foot in the door with anybody that's open up, you know?
Yeah,
did some
sure.
benches at 2 dudes. Like, I don't know. If I hear there's something coming up, I'm probably going to be sniffing around trying to get some business.
I mean, and it's in their best interest, I think, to give you business just from the local helping local aspect of it.
That's the attitude we need.
Yeah. And that, I mean, that's like my whole process for doing this thing is, you know, just like supporting people that I think are interesting and cool. And I guess you talked about I don't know where I'm going anymore. I got lost. This happens, man. It happens.
No,
See, I don't prepare any questions, so I get lost sometimes.
That's cool, dude.
Did you make that little wooden Indian over there?
No, dude. That's the only thing in here I didn't make. He kind of looked like my logo. So,
yeah.
That came from my wife's Papa's house.
Gotcha.
He is like I don't know what it was, cigar shop mascot or something. I was like, this thing's cool as hell, so I had to take it up.
Fair enough.
Had to grab it. It's a solid piece of wood though.
Okay.
Somebody spent some time on it.
Yeah.
It's cool as hell.
I guess. Okay, I know what I was gonna say. You mentioned that you make your bases and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you ever outsource that, or you ever like get super creative with that, or?
Oh, seldom. I'll outsource it. I have to the same guy I plugged earlier, Danny. He's made, I don't know, 1 or 2 for me of bases. Like the one in particular was a conference table I made for ULM last fall. Their new Layered Weems Center did a big cypress table for them, and there was this really cool base that I'd kind of like designed, but I was like, man, this is a little outside my wheelhouse. This is going to be some hard welding. This needs to be laser cut and all this. And I think that was the first time I used him. Called him in on that. I was like, showed him the drawing. I was like, this is what I want. Can we do it? And he's like, yeah. So that was really, I think that was that's the only times I've ever really gotten somebody else to make a base for me. But this big one I was talking about that I've got in the pipe, I'm probably going to get somebody to help me on those just because I got a pretty full plate. I'm real hard-headed about, as you can see, doing everything myself. Like from damn near the only thing I didn't do was plant this tree. Like I go cut it up, haul it here, mill it, like build the furniture, make the base. Pretty much all of it. I need to start outsourcing as much as I can. It's dumb not to. But it's just more or less like one of those things where it's like, well, I know how to do it. You know, why not do it? But I need to start doing that some more, getting somebody to make my bases for me.
Do you have anybody that helps you around here?
I got one helper. His name's Cody. He's a good dude, really good dude. He part-time, like a couple hours a day or a week or whatever you want to call it, like a 20 hours maybe a week kind of guy.
Yeah.
That he's more. He helps me with whatever I want. He's a great helper, but he really handles like more than anything like the reclaimed wood stuff side of it. I don't know if when you pull it up, there's a ton of beams and barn board and all that kind of stuff out there. Like if there's somebody that needs 600 square feet of wood ceilings or whatever, he'll pull that order for us and like have it ready for them to come pick up. That's kind of his job, but if I can, like that's where I'd like to go. I would like to get him in here and do. As of now, all the furniture's 100% just me. He helps me mill some though. He does help me do that.
Kind of
that's
bring
where
him
I need
on
to
as
hire
an apprentice or some type.
He likes it, so it's gonna. I don't see him wanting to get out of it. He's got a passion for it too, so I hope he wants to stay with it. The main thing I need to hire somebody for is to run the damn mill out there. There's piles and piles of trees out here that need to get milled up. I'm just going and get them because it's like if I don't get them today, they're gone tomorrow. So
right,
stockpiling squirrel is all his nuts ready. You know, somebody needs to come cut these trees for me.
Well, and I mean, sitting in like the whole log form, they're pretty preserved.
I got them all up off the ground. The ends are sealed, so they're not drying out and cracking. Some of them actually do better if you let them sit, like pecan in particular. Like you see all this like this kind of decay, like these black lines. It's heavy down there.
Okay, yeah. I see what you're talking about.
It's called spalting. It's like, I don't know if you ever seen like a mushroom growing on a tree, growing off of it. Yeah. That is basically the roots of that mushroom are these black lines.
That ain't
for an
in the
easy
wood.
way to think of it. They're getting into that wood and causing, if you let them go too long, it'll rot the tree. So you kind of got to keep an eye on it. But I've got a lot of them out here that I'll intentionally let sit for 6 months and let them kind of develop some cool stuff like that, get a little more character to them. They're harder to saw when you do that because they get dried out and the wood gets harder. If you cut them right away, they're still full of water and slice right through them. But
you're saying like you can, like the time frame, or you can see it happening?
You can't see it. You can more or less go out there with like a hammer or something, just kind of hit on it. If it's getting soft, okay, we need to mill this thing.
Gotcha.
But and it's fine, and you let it roll as long as you can until that starts happening. You'll get more and more of that. Or if you want to, if you don't want any of that, you want nice, clean, uniform stuff, you can mill them immediately. And I do that too, but I like to have options of everything. But pecan in particular is the one I like to let sit for a minute and get let some stuff develop in there. But I might just be making an excuse so I don't have to mill them right now. I don't know.
I mean, I've seen some video of you milling it.
Dude,
It doesn't look like an easy process.
That thing is way easier. You can look over here at this chainsaw. That sumbitch right there will whip your ass just looking at it.
Yeah.
It sucks. But that's the only way to cut a giant tree. I mean, unless you want to spend $60,000 on a bandsaw that can cut 6 foot wide. I'm not doing that anytime soon.
So what you're talking about is just like a chainsaw on some kind of straight and an arrow.
Got a guide on it.
Yeah.
That chainsaw right there with a 6 foot bar. We'll look at it in a minute.
Okay. Yeah.
It's taller than me when I stand it up.
Okay.
But it looks really cool. You feel like Rambo when you're holding it or something.
Yeah. But you have it on like some kind of sliding
It's
mechanism?
got a guide, what's called an Alaskan Sawmill. Like, I guess where it got the term is because up in Alaska when they're logging up there, the trees are too big to move out of the middle of the woods, and they'd mill them right there in the woods. So it's just this guide bar that clips to a long bar, and you set up like a guide rail. Like when you got just a log laying there, more or less, a lot of guys will just lay a ladder on top of that log for a straight line reference and let that guide ride the top of that ladder, and as you're cutting, you're getting a nice clean surface. Peel all of that off, and now you have a flat surface, and now you set whatever depth you want to cut at with that guide bar, and just keep referencing off your last cut and going down. But it will whip your ass. It's not fun. It's fun for about 30 seconds, then you're like, what in the hell, man?
So you do that and you get like a super rough cut, I guess?
It's those were milled with a chainsaw.
Okay.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
But
on the top.
either way, you're gonna have to. That was milled with a chainsaw. You can see chainsaw lines in that.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
It's not bad. You're gonna flatten it either way,
Right.
so it doesn't really matter what it was cut with. You get a little more waste when you mill with a chainsaw because a chain is thicker than a bandsaw blade. Chain's around 3/8 thick. Bandsaw's like an 1/8. So if you're being conservative or whatever, like when you're doing the math on a full cut, if you're running that chain through there 9 times, you're basically losing a slab to sawdust.
Gotcha.
But what's the
And that's
alternative?
it, you got to get it done.
What's the
then.
alternative, man?
Yeah.
I can't afford
So
a big ass bandsaw.
you take that and you run it through a big planer, or you
No, hell no.
sand it manually?
No, dude. Got some jigs that you can set up like a flattening sled. You set up over one of these slabs. Like obviously those aren't flat. None of these are flat yet. Set them up with like a straight line on each side and run a sled over it with a router that's got a big surfacing bit on it, and it sweeps back and forth. You ever seen what a CNC is?
Yeah, for sure.
It's like a CNC, but you're doing this instead of a computer.
All right.
It's a router that goes back and forth across it. Gets the whole thing level. You got like a 1/8 at a time maybe, and get all the high spots, drop it down, get all that until you got a full pass and it's flat, dead flat. Like, flip it over, do the same thing.
Imagine that sounds like a process, time consuming.
Again, what's the alternative?
Right.
You got to have something.
$100,000 worth of equipment, I guess.
Man, there's really, you can buy a CNC that'll do it, but even if you did have a planer that's 60 inches wide or what that will fit this, planers only reference what's on the underside. So if the side that's running through is not flat, it's rocking through the planer.
Okay.
So it might come out smooth, but it's not flat. It's a
right.
banana, it comes out like that. So you got to have one side flat to even run something through a planer. You got to have one side surfaced. It sounds like a ton of work, but it's, like this table, I've done enough of them. I can get this flat in like 4 hours. It's not worth going and spending $80,000 or whatever on some big CNC table that takes up half my shop,
Yeah.
That's another one. I need to hire somebody to do that too, flatten all these things.
Well, that kind of leads me into my next question. Like, you mentioned kind of starting to outsource or hire other people. Like, Is this something that you see continuing to do for the rest of your life and kind of trying to, quote unquote, build an empire, if you will? Or is it something you just kind of see yourself being in for a while and going on, moving on to something else?
Man, if I'm gonna do something else, it's because I won the lottery.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already doing exactly what the hell I want to be doing. So if I stop doing this, something's wrong. I don't know. I'm depressed. Somebody needs to check on me. I'm depressed or something because I'm doing exactly what I want to be doing. If I have problems, there is trouble. You know. If I can't be happy doing this, I don't know. There's a lot of people out there doing jobs they don't want to be doing. I'm doing exactly what I want to do every day.
Get to work with your hands and be creative every day.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
imagine there's.
Or really just more than anything, not have anybody tell you what to do. Like just, I mean, I got deadlines, but deadlines I created.
Yeah.
But it's all, can steer it whatever direction you want. If I want to go into tables more, if I want to go into whatever, who knows what, if I want to just start making, I don't know, anything.
Sounds like you could just start dealing wood if you wanted to.
I wanted to, kind of just wherever direction I want to. As long as people like wood, I think I'll be in business. I don't know if anybody tries to pop up around me, I'll try to just hire them instead of have a competitor.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there. Like I said before, I mean, what you created got my attention, and particularly the little bow tie stuff.
Yeah,
Dude, that stuff looks so clean and sweet. I really enjoy that stuff.
I didn't invent that. That's been going on a long time.
I knew it was, but
I'm not taking credit for that.
It's still cool how you integrated into some stuff. So, I guess tell the people how to get a hold of you.
As for now, Google Ouachita Antique Woods, Instagram, Facebook. That's where you can see everything. Name's Kyle Snellenberger. If you want, I post everything on personal accounts too. But that's how you see everything for now.
Yeah, for sure. Follow him. He's always posting stuff, and it's usually pretty interesting, especially the whole collecting the logs and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
I've got a couple of YouTube videos coming out in the sometime near future, I think, of going and doing the log retrieval.
Sweet.
So that's something that's coming up. And the big conference table coming up, the one I mentioned, that'll be a cool one to follow along with. It's like 30 feet long. It ought to be a cool table.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you having me here and sitting down with me, and I really enjoyed it. So hopefully we'll catch up with you down the road.
Yeah, do it again, man.
Sweet.